art of speaking, the method to pass the teachings of stories from our ancestors, passed from mothers to daughters, fathers to sons by tongue. One day hoping we'd become their predecessors, but better to a greater measure, for oh, 1,000 tongues, speaking the language, keeping it gold like treasure. First question, tell us who you guys are and give us a bit about yourself and your culture or your background behind the arts and your culture.
Okay. My name is Amo or Upper Amo Ieriko. In terms of slowly moving into our traditional instruments and stuff, that was much later in life when I decided to take up dancing. And part of that was also, liking the music and then wanting to also learn the music. And it just realized that with us, and our culture and performance and language, everything is connected, interconnected. The singing we do, the music, the instruments, everything. Yeah, and I find that more interesting when I also start to understand the Western dance. Say like for ballet, you have your music, you have your dancers, and it's very quiet in a sense. Whereas for us, our Pacific music, we use our vocals even as a dancer, and then now and again we use our body as percussion as a dancer. So I've found that very interesting that we incorporate everything in our Pacific dancing culture.
What are some of the instruments used in traditional Samoan music?
The fala is one, because that's always when we get to sing songs with youth back in the days. That's always a must, I think. Instrument that you should have in your garage. I've also you also got to have a bake. Got one of those that I use for performances. And then your kingi palau or your bass is one thing. What else? That kind of just adds to the orchestra sound of Pacific instruments. And then I guess with the tin, the cabin bread tin, which is a newer edition, I suppose. And I prefer, when it comes to Siva Afi, that the cabin bread tin sound is much better than just doing a pake on its own for Siva Afi Ailau, because the tin kind of really adds to the intensity of the performance and the hype of it. So that makes a hell of a different sound, different energy that comes from the Siva Afi Ailau. Whereas your other dance, like your whakapaki or your siva and stuff, you can, pretty much incorporate your pake or your fala or your bass. And then obviously for singing, and that's always good these days to have a bit of a string instrument, to add to the harmony of it and stuff. So yeah, and like I mentioned before, your percussion, your body percussion is always for me, it's always a must to include in there. Your vocals, your chusu, that you could say that's a body instrument. It's not just singing a song, but just having those elements added in there to make everything complete. Yeah, that's from my side. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I totally agree with Amo. I think everything he said, that was pretty much it. I was just thinking, like, from far back, right? I think that started off with just a bucky and a bowl, like Amo was saying, or they used their bodies. They probably, imagine before they even had their first drums, if they were just in the coconut grove somewhere and they just start beating on their laps, right? Because if you think about what they're composing, it was quite different than what we do today. You know, they sang about their hardships. They probably wrote a song about how today I didn't find any fish. Today the wind was rough and blew all the coconuts down off the tree, and they didn't have drums yet, quite yet. So I would imagine probably just, yeah, like some bucky bowl, their laps, like almost said, their body percussion was the first, and then probably it evolved as they probably had, someone discovered the sound on their canoe as they hit the side of their canoe, which is like a giant bake. They probably used that. You know, I'm just thinking, what would it have been, right? Because our instruments and percussion instruments, before they became entertainment, they were used to warn the island, right? The longo longo, which is what, like a 30-foot drum, huge drum, right? And it probably was perched up somewhere high or somewhere in the middle of the village. When they see a new ship coming into the island they never seen before, they're probably just boom, 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 right? Probably for their school or probably for like their sa. They hit the longo longo, and it was to announce. And that was probably their first percussion instrument style type. Now you can see, I think I saw a New Zealand archive where they filmed a sa sa, and they only had like, I think it was like just a pake and of like 40 people just sitting somewhere on a Malay, and they're just doing a real simple sa sa, you know. And yeah, I would imagine that the King Palau and the arrival of foreign things, marching, big bands, maybe from other islands. I don't know. I have no idea. I honestly don't know. I've never really looked into that deeply, but I would imagine that that's how it came about. And so you have those types of instruments, like Amos said, that's a must. I think that's probably right above the pake, maybe, is the fala. I could see that in their fales, very intimate, you know, they might have used that for. I just think that the percussion instruments of entertainment at that time, it was like, what were they using it for? And I would imagine, um for the chief to write song and of the feats that he had done, to tell stories, you know. Um, that's my idea. But I agree with almost all the everything that he said. That was just my 2 cents to just add to that what Amo had shared.
I
No,
like I
yeah,
like what you were saying, Alex,
Yeah.
and emphasizing the fact that it's what was the purpose, the story they were telling, because I think that then leads to what was the rhythm and the beats. Because your story about sleeping next to the laundry and stuff like that, then the instrument, does the instrument then determine what the beat or rhythm or story is, or do we then say, oh yeah, I've got a story, I've got the beat, this is the right instrument for it, uh here, to me, that's something that I feel sometimes is missing with our modern dance, our modern interpretation of our traditional items. Is the essence, and if we pick up on what is the culture, the essence of everything else, then we something different. We then touch more on the spirituality of those songs, of those rhythms and stuff, because because there's something different from when you sing a song in the village, and then when you sing it here in New Zealand with your friends, there's just something different about it. And I think it's maybe the environment around it, the what is the purpose of it, the emotions of the people that are doing it, which then dictates, how something is played, what the instrument we used to play it with and stuff. Yeah, that was something I was thinking of, because we use anything, like popo, stuff like that. So yeah.
But the sounds
That's
of it
good.
sounded like you guys already answered one of my next question.
Oh, well, sorry about it.
No, my next question was going to be, from a sound point of view, what significance does the upbeat beating of the pake and fala hold within the narrative storytelling of a besi?
Yeah. What do you think, Alex? Because I like how you said you are surrounded by a multitude, I guess, of various cultures from the Pacific in one place. How would because it's you would have mixed in terms of stories with them. How do they predict or interpret things, instruments? Because for me, I can only really talk about from what I know on my side of things. I guess Christianity, the church, piano, all of that has an influence in it, and we try and incorporate the pake in the church music now and then. But yeah.
Let me see. Start all over. I was thinking that when you hear a pake, and it depends on how you play it, you can identify what you're trying to play, right? So if I was to play a pake and I go, that doesn't sound Samoan, but I'm playing a pake. If I pake and I go, everybody mind, your feeling, it takes you to a Samoan culture. Those who know, those who don't, they'll just go. It's because they're new. They're gonna identify with it. Oh, this is a new sound. Oh, it goes with that type of song, right? But for everyone who does know, it clicks. Oh, it's a Samoan group.
Yeah.
It's a you cannot. So with the drums, there are specific beats that are for Samoa. Apanganwenga, Tafautasi, Nifooti. There's beats that are specific that you can play, and they go, oh wow, what's that? A lot of times, and I think culture, is a way of life, and it's ever evolving, it's ever moving and changing, right? Once, what like we just talked about, and I think it was important. What do we use the drums then for, or the music? To tell our story. That's how they pass on their legacy. Because you teach your song to their child, two or three generations on the line, they go, oh my gosh, did you hear this song? Why did they write that? What was that occasion? It's connected to a story. It's connected to a history, which doesn't, it's no longer surface. It becomes deep, whoever you use it, right? And now, thousands and thousands of miles away, somewhere in either California, Florida, say, or even Hawaii, at the Polynesian Culture Center, whether you're from, or wherever that song was written, you sing that with pride, because all you know is it's representing who you are as a Pacific Islander, as a Samoan. So now I'll sing it. I have no idea where this song was written or what. I just know it's Samoan. I can hear it. That beat just gets you going. stirs something in you. And so
Mm.
I think like with the pake, it was what we used to accompany our music, like Amo had shared. Yeah, you can tell it's a church song as soon as you start playing some chords and you understand. Your
Mhm.
mind goes, "Oh, this is a praise song." I feel like I
Mm.
feel like I feel like going to church. Praise the Lord.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know, it helps to stir that emotion. And so with the Siva Afi, that is what Amo, myself, David, that's what we're trying to do when we have the drums there playing these certain beats, so that people go, "Oh, that's a Afi beat. Oh,
Mm.
that I feel like a warrior now watching this."